Yes, sir. Welcome to another episode of the Blue Bloods College Game Time podcast. It's your boy, Trey Smith.
And it's your boy, Brandon Holmes. Welcome to Blue Bloods College Game Time, a podcast for the fans, by the fans. I've been waiting all day to record this podcast. Actually, I've been waiting. If you would have called me last night at midnight and said, B, let's record, I would have been ready because I have some things to talk about today, my friend.
Well, it's the Blue Bloods crew. Shout out Uncle Fish. We are also on the Blue Bloods Fish Report, working with the different team sites. Shout out allhogs.com, powered by Sports Illustrated.
The Grove Report.
All right, B. Holmes, I got a question for you.
All right.
By the time we finish recording this podcast, not we have it posted up. I'm saying we're recording right now. By the time this thing's done recording, will Dan Mullen still be the head coach of Florida?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think he at least makes it to Monday. I think he at least makes it till tomorrow. I don't know. He'll at least make it to Monday.
We've been having these Sunday night breaking news from whether it be Gary Patterson, whether it be Ed O. I just wondering if by the time we finish recording this, it'll probably be posted up, later on Sunday night. Most people will be watching it Monday night, and then throughout the week. But I'm just curious, is he okay? So let me ask you this then: is he still the head coach by the time people are actually listening and watching this episode?
Yeah, I don't think Florida's going to do we're going to release him early kind of thing. I think they let him ride it out. We're going into week 11. We have 3 weeks left. I think they let him ride the season out before they make any major decisions because I think Florida is smart enough to know, let's wait, but they're already moving behind the scenes on whoever they want to hire. But I don't think they'll release the information in advance. No, I think he finishes the season out.
I mean, you kind of have to be moving pretty quick nowadays with the early signing period, and that's why I just wonder how that might play out because it definitely appears that his seat is just, I mean, it's already almost ashes at this point. It's so
it's
on fire.
It's
okay,
crispy.
Well, we had the first official release of the CFP rankings last week. You and I, we did our reaction to that. Blue Blood Fish Report. Go check out that video if you haven't already. We don't have just an audio only version of that. That's exclusive video. So you have to go to Fish Sports YouTube to check that one out. But we reacted to that. Then after Saturday, man, it kind of turned everything over on its head. So what do you think when those rankings come out this week? What might that look like? What might that look like, and what are you expecting to see from the committee?
Oh man, well, first let's just knock it out. The top 4 is going to look different this week. Number 3 went down to Purdue. Michigan State, little brother, went down to Purdue. I have something to say about that later. Before I go, did I not say that? Did I not say they were going to lose to Purdue?
Oh, you said
that. I said it. So I just wanted to
multiple times.
So
in multiple ways.
I felt
text.
I was very comfortable.
Video chat, phone call. I mean, I heard it in all different kind of ways this week.
All week, man. I felt it. So I think naturally what happens is I think obviously number 1 and 2 stay the same. I actually think Ohio State, they're going to get preferential treatment. They'll leapfrog Oregon and go to the number 3 slot. I think Michigan and OU will finish 5 and 6. I think they might put I think based upon last week's rankings and OU not playing and Michigan playing, Michigan probably is at 5, OU's at 6. I think State drops down to probably like 8. I think Notre Dame moves up to 7, and then you know what? I think A&M probably moves into the top 7.
Really?
And it's rounded out. Yeah, I think A&M moves into the top 7. So if I have to go, I say Georgia 1, Bama 2, Ohio State 3, Oregon 4, OU 5, Michigan 6, Cincy 7 because they should have lost that game to Tulsa. Then I'm going to say A&M 8, Notre Dame 9, and then I'll leave 10 at Oklahoma State because I believe they won yesterday too. So that would be my top 10. I think it kind of rounds out that way.
See, I feel like if they drop Cincy like that and bring OU up, it's almost like they're contradicting a criteria they already set out a week ago. And that's what I'm actually curious to see is, will they be consistent with the criteria or the precedents they've already set in setting these rankings? For example, if they leapfrog Oregon with Ohio State, that's a contradiction because they made it very clear a week ago that the head-to-head matters as far as how they rank teams.
True.
And with Oregon winning that head-to-head with Ohio State, now, I'm not saying that you're wrong and that the committee won't do that. I'm just curious, is what they did last week a true criteria, even though we don't get to see the criteria? Like, we don't get to hear those conversations. We don't get to know what all goes into that and what it all entails. However, if you just watch how the rankings are being set, you remember we were watching it right here on this software, and I go, there's no way Ohio State gets ranked higher than Oregon because they've already set the criteria for that. So I think it would be difficult to justify leapfrogging Cincy with OU coming out of a week where OU didn't play and Cincy won. Because you can make the argument, okay, Cincinnati played a weak opponent and almost lost. Well, it's not like that's the first time they've done that this season. Yet they got way more respect a week ago than OU, who also was barely winning games, but at least they're playing Power 5 opponents. And at that point in time, they were the only 9-0 team in the country, yet they were what? 4 spots? 3 spots? What were they? They were 8. Cincy was 6, or 2 spots maybe?
They were 2 spots down.
Because Cincinnati was 6 last week. And then OU was 8.
Yep.
So I don't see how you can, I don't feel like enough happened to really justify putting OU above Cincinnati if I'm the committee. If I'm the committee trying to stay true to this criteria and format I've already put in place. Now, personally, I'd be all for that. I mean, personally, at this point, getting back to the point you made last week, OU should be in the top 4. They're 9-0.
Yes,
they're a Power 5 team. I don't think Oregon or Ohio State should be above them, but I have here on my list, I think what the committee will probably do is keep Georgia, Bama, who at this point, after Bama in that LSU game, which, I mean, I don't know that, obviously we talk about it. LSU's got the dudes. It depends on what team's going to show up, and you knew they were going to show up for Bama. I'm hoping that same team doesn't show up for Arkansas next week, but I don't think you could even justify keeping Bama at number 2. So in theory, shouldn't the 2 9-0 teams, the 2 9-0 Power 5 teams be the top 2 ranked and then figure it out from there? That's not what's going to happen, but that's what I think. I think what's going to be is going to be Georgia, Bama, Oregon, Ohio State. Basically, everybody moves up a spot. Cincinnati goes up to number 5, and then OU goes to number 6. I don't think there's too much more fireworks outside of that. I do think A&M could end up in the top 10. And I'll say this, and yes, I'm wearing the hoodie, and I am very much a homer, but Arkansas should be in the CFP top 25 based off what they put forth last week. If Mississippi State, who I need to look, pretty sure they were a 3-loss team. They were a 3-loss team. They've lost 4 now after Saturday, right?
They were 5-3 when the polls
They were a
came
5-3, 3-loss team, ranked number 17. Arkansas will be coming in to this week's rankings 6-3, with, I guess the only thing they have is 1 less conference win than Mississippi State. but Mississippi State also didn't have to play Georgia. So,
right.
Now I don't know how much they take that into consideration, but Arkansas did beat A&M, arguably the hottest team in college football right now, next to Georgia.
Oh no, y'all didn't just beat them; y'all rolled them.
So, but I guess Mississippi State beat them too. But then we beat Mississippi State. I just think that based off that criteria, Arkansas should be in the top 25. Now I'm not saying they should be up in the top 15 or anything. Just get us in the top 25.
Right.
And then
I think that'll happen.
Can UTSA get some respect?
I wanted to say that. I did not want us to get past this segment without showing love to UTSA. They should be ranked in the top 25 this week. If they're not, I think we have a problem. Because I'm looking, so Fresno State lost, they're 23rd, so that should make room for them. Minnesota lost, they were 20, so that should be able to make some room. Kentucky lost to 18, Mississippi State lost to 17. So there should be some movement happening, man. I think UTSA should get some love. I mean, they're undefeated. They're playing great. They're top 15 in the S&P in scoring offense or defense, one of the two categories. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think they deserve a spot in the top 25.
Here's something I have to actually offer on this UTSA segment this week. I watched them Saturday night. I mean, their game didn't end. It felt like till 1 a.m. probably. It was midnight or something. So it was a crazy busy day for me. Writing some articles for allhogs.com. I actually had one I had to do for Longhorn Country. And so typically my Saturday routine now, which is like a major blur, is basically watch the games I need to watch, write the articles, write the things I need to write in game. It was actually kind of cool. I got to do the live blog for the Razorback game this week, which was crazy.
Yeah, shout out to
what
you.
A game.
Shout out to you.
But then, like you with Ole Miss, we do the videos. So you have to do the video recaps. And obviously there's a written piece that comes with that. Cause it's funny because people are asking me, hey, do they send those to y'all? And you just read them off. It's like, no, we write them as we're watching the game.
We create those.
Well, then what I kind of do is I'll wind down and go, okay, what else do I need to have for Sunday morning? Cause usually we try to have an article or two posted on Sunday morning. So what I did on Saturday was got the Texas Longhorn video recap, which I'll be talking about that game later, video recap in, wrote the article that I wanted posted on Sunday morning, which actually, if you happen to be a Razorback fan or just a true college football fan, and you might remember Brandon Burlsworth, the Burlsworth Trophy, the movie Greater about him is on Netflix. Really cool article. I was really fortunate to be able to be a part of writing that is now up on allhogs.com about his foundation that his brother started. Basically his brother helped raise him. If you've watched the movie, you'd see that helped raise him and started this foundation. And they have this thing called Burl's Kids. And anyways, my cousin who lives up, shout out Toby, who lives up in Northwest Arkansas, Mountain Home, he got to take the Burl's Kids this week. So we were able to I was able to write a pretty cool, what I felt like was a pretty cool article that is up on All Hogs right now. If you're listening, go check that out, allhogs.com. So I finished that Saturday night. By the time all that was done, I took a shower and all that, it's midnight, right? And so now I need to unwind before I can go to sleep. And I look and see the UTSA game. I talked a long way around to get to this point. The UTSA game was in the third quarter or something, or coming out of half. So I don't know if it's because they're out on the West Coast. I don't know if maybe I was watching a replay and didn't realize it. I don't think I was, but I might have been.
They had a late kickoff.
Is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah, they had a late kickoff.
So I watched them for a whole half of football. Brandon, they've got some cats. They've got some dudes. And I know what it is. It's Jeff Traylor. He's going and finding all that speed. Because if you don't know East Texas, some people refer to it as Beast Texas, there is some speed. You'll find some 2-star and 3-star guys for whatever reason that might be. A lot of times it's because some of those athletes and student athletes aren't able to get to all the camps, right?
Right.
Well, Jeff Traylor's like a legend out there. So he has all the inroads, and he knows if there's a dude that's got some speed that no one's looking at, they're at UTSA right now. And finally being able to watch them play, I'm going, that team deserves to be in the top 25. look, I'm not saying they're going to go beat Georgia or go beat Bama or whatever, but one, to your point, they've won every game on their schedule. But watching them play, like, they got some dudes. I would love to see UTSA get the Group of 5 New Year's 6 bid. But in order for that to happen, I think Cincinnati would have to lose to SMU. Well, in order for that to happen, UTSA would have to start getting some respect in the CFP polls, I guess.
Absolutely. And Cincinnati, I think Cincinnati's going to drop one, man. You keep playing with fire, eventually you're going to lose a game, man. And they have definitely been playing with fire the last couple of weeks. So I'm expecting them to drop one. I don't really know. Like, I just pulled up their rest of their schedule. Who they have South Florida, they have SMU, and they have Eastern Carolina. Eastern Carolina, I've watched them play this year. They got a good team, man. They got a really good team. SMU, I don't know, man. I watched SMU play yesterday, and I was so frustrated because I thought this was going to be a good bounce-back win for them against Memphis. And shout out to Luke Croy, man, my former high school coach.
Luke, I know Coach Croy.
You know Luke. You know Coach Croy.
Boy. Worked with Luke.
Man, and, Coach Croy, that's my guy. And so, the secondary just looked undisciplined. It seemed like that loss that they took kind of just threw them off. So now they're on a 2-game skid. So hopefully they can kind of get back into the swing of things, man. But I would love to see SMU, man. I mean, not SMU, UTSA. I would love to kind of see them get some respect because I think they can. I think they're highly underestimated and they can hang with a lot of, not every team's Georgia. So, and not every team's Bama. And like we said, this isn't even the premier Bama teams. This defense has been pedestrian for Bama all year, what we've seen. But I think they can give a lot of Power 5 teams a run for their money. I'm not saying they're going to beat them, but they can give a lot of teams a run for their money.
Well, and the last thing I'll say on that, and then we can move on, but if they were, in theory, to draw a New Year's 6 game, chances are they would draw a team who probably had a lot of their roster like off preparing for the draft, not playing in the game, maybe not taking it seriously, and then they're going to come in ready to roll. But unfortunately, they'll probably go 12-0, I guess 13-0 with a conference championship, and then get like the Bahamas Bowl or something or whatever it is.
It's going to be unfortunate, man.
Or they're going to drop a game to UAB here in a couple weeks because every team I start gassing up on this podcast ends up losing. Wake Forest, Kentucky. Yeah. I mean, Kentucky, bro. I'm not even going to get going on that. I was all on the Kentucky hype train before they turned into a hype train.
You were.
Now they've dropped. I can't do it.
3, right?
So
they dropped 3.
All right, bold / pick'ems. Ugh. I don't even want to. I wish we could just skip this segment. Let me just get mine out of the way.
Go ahead.
Let me just get mine out of the way.
You have it.
Because I'm not going to take long. Liberty plus 9.5. Texas plus 6.5. Michigan State minus 3. Kentucky plus 1. You know what I got? Actually, I did win 1 this week. You know what it was? It was the over on Wisconsin Rutgers, which was at 37.5. And Wisconsin dropped like 52 on them. So that game Wisconsin almost doubled themselves. But
yeah, no, they dominated them.
But let me just touch on that Liberty real quick. Malik Willis, right? That's right. That's the quarterback.
That's the quarterback.
That dude was running for his life. It felt like the whole game. Ole Miss did what they were supposed to do. Granted, Ole Miss let them hang around a little bit. But for the most part, they did what they were supposed to. Yes. But I don't really have much to say. Texas, I'm going to get to you in a second. Michigan State, Kentucky, that's all I got.
That's all you got? All right, man. I actually redeemed myself by getting a dub. So my first one I picked, I took the under for Iowa versus Northwestern. The under, which points were sitting at 40.5, and the score was 17-12, which turned out to only be 29 points. So there you go. I knew it. Iowa has no offense. Northwestern has no offense. And I didn't really see that going anywhere. I jumped on the Trey hype train. I took the money line for Wake Forest. and I'm sure we'll talk about them in a little bit on that. And for a while, I looked like that was going to be going to be a win for us. Didn't really go that way. Now this game, man, missed by 4 points. I took the over. Oh no, it missed by like 5 points. I took the over on Army versus Air Force 37.5. And they ended with 35. Excuse me. So I missed by a field goal. And that was, I was texting you during that game. That was a very, very underestimated good game. It wasn't much in the first half. Like they went to halftime 0-0, and I'm like, oh, I texted you. I said, man, my over looks terrible right now. And then like the last quarter and a half of that game was like so exciting because they're throwing the football. Air Force is coming from behind. I'm like cheering. I'm like, I didn't put anything down on that game. I just wanted to be right. So I'm like, yes, let's go. And it came down to the end, man. The Air Force started at their own like 15, get the ball down to the other 15, the Army's 15, gets a illegal chop block penalty, takes them back 15 yards. And so that ends up ending the game for them, man. And so I missed that. So I was 1 for 2. I was really close, but close only matters in horseshoes. And if almost were a stat, Michigan would have 3 titles by now. So I was 1 for 2. So that's how I went on my pick'ems this week. 1 for 2. That's better than 0 for 4 last week. So I'll take it. I'm on the up and up.
Well, that makes one of us. So, well, who was your biggest surprise from Week 10?
Biggest surprise. I've been going back and forth on this. I've been going back and forth because one thing I was going to say, and I wasn't really surprised. I kind of knew it was coming. But my biggest surprise, man, if I'm being honest, was Nebraska again, man. For a team that doesn't that consistently loses in
doesn't win
fashion. They play their behinds off, man. They really play their. I would venture to say maybe Nebraska shouldn't fire Scott Frost. I don't know if anybody else is going to come in and make it that much better. I was reading Nebraska's the only team they've lost 4 games. The 4 of their games they've lost has only been by a combined 16 points.
Oh, hold on.
The last 4 games they've lost.
And 2 of those teams are right now potential playoff teams.
Right,
OU and Ohio State.
And they got Michigan too. They lost to Michigan by 3.
So that's 3 potential. That's crazy.
That's 3. That's when you look at it, it's if the ball kind of goes. I don't even say they don't even need the ball went their way a couple times. If they don't shoot themselves in the foot in 2 out of those 3 games, this is a completely different Nebraska conversation we're having. And I'm watching them play Ohio State. I'm like, wow, they're making Ohio State look mortal right now, which I haven't been super high on them anyways. But I was really surprised. For real, my biggest surprise was, man, these guys have only won 3 ball games all year. Yet every week they come out and they give teams, they have you on your seat. And so I also say, it must have to be so hard being a Nebraska fan, seriously. Because, for this entire season, you've been that close. You've been, I think the game this past weekend, if Adrian Martinez hits one guy, on a crossing route that was wide open, they scored the touchdown, and I think they win that game. So it's just so, the surprise in Nebraska. So it's one, it's how close they are, but also it's how badly they continuously shoot themselves in the foot. Because the play that could have won the game for them, Martinez had just ran for 40 yards. Puts them in, you got Ohio State on your heels. I'm like, if you convert here, I think you take and you're at home, I think you take the life out of them. And they miss. And then they lose by 6, I think, and their field goal kicker shanked 2 bad field goals. So, my biggest surprise is Nebraska, man. I don't know if this is a consolation prize or not. They're the best 3-win team in the country. They can flat out play football, man. They're not I feel bad because I'm looking at them they're a good team. They act like their record doesn't. You can only judge a team based upon wins and losses, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm looking at them. I'm like, they shouldn't be a 3-win team. They should at least. They should have 6 wins. They should be going to a bowl game this year. They're good enough. I actually think they're probably the most talented team in the Big Ten West. I do. I think they're the best. Technically they would, to me, are the best team in the Big Ten West if you take away records. They just keep shooting themselves in the foot, man, and it hurt my feelings because I'm like, every week you guys are so close, and for real, their last 4 games they lost by 7, 3, 3, and 3, or whatever they lost to Ohio State by. So it's literally probably like in the last 5 games they've only lost by a combined of like 21 points, which is a small margin. So that was my biggest surprise, man.
Nebraska this season really kind of reminds me of some of the Arkansas teams of the Brett Bielema era, where like we had a season where we lost to Bama by 1 because we fumbled literally walking into the end zone. That same season we dropped, we be up big on A&M and then just give it to them in the last few possessions of the game, just doing stupid stuff, shooting ourselves in the foot. And I just look at a couple of those seasons where, Bielema was literally like 2 or 3 plays away from being a 10-win team and not a 7-6 team.
Right.
I remember one of those seasons we shut out Ole Miss and LSU in back-to-back games. And like one of those seasons was when Ole Miss beat Bama. Like they were a top, I want to say maybe 5 team when we played them. And so, but if earlier that season we were losing to, games we shouldn't lose. Like one season dropped one to UTEP and then dropped one to Texas Tech. And it's like they figure it out. And but I get it. I can kind of relate to some of these Nebraska fans right now because they're literally just counting going, oh my goodness, we're 1 or 2 plays, 3 or 4 plays like away from being in contention for a Big Ten title and possibly a CFP spot. So my biggest surprise, B. Holmes, was TCU, man. They upset Baylor. So I just knew, one, again, just to my whole the Trey jinx, I'm on here wearing a Baylor 900-pound club shirt last week, hyping up Baylor, the Baylor Bears, here they come. And then they go to Fort Worth, and I think Baylor got caught in the trap. I think they looked at TCU as a team that was down this year, just fired their coach. Obviously, we released our reaction video to Coach Patterson being dismissed last Sunday on Halloween night. Go check that out if you haven't already. But we talked about who we think TCU should pursue for that job. But man, I just knew Baylor was going to come into Fort Worth, take care of business, and really set the table for a showdown between the Bears and OU next week. And they got caught in the trap. I think they got caught in the trap, and I think TCU played out of their mind. Sometimes the dismissing of a coach, like it can have 1 or 2 impacts on a team. Yeah. It can unite everyone and, all of a sudden give the team a late season surge, or it can just collapse everything. And I guess I felt like with TCU and Gary Patterson, I thought him leaving was gonna be but they managed to come in. They beat Baylor 30-28, and man, I was really looking forward to the Bears OU game. Now I guess it's gonna come down to Bedlam, right?
Yeah.
I think
it is. Well, Baylor still has to play OU next week.
But that's what I'm saying. But I'm looking at the Big 12 and I'm going, I hear you. I think my point is does Baylor stand a chance against OU now? They just got caught up in the trap. To me, I think that 1, it wasn't like a guarantee whether they would win that game or not anyways. But then 2, there might be a little bit of they get beat 2 weeks in a row by TCU. Because at this point, you've got OU 6-0, Oak State. When is that game? I'm looking down on my phone right now. Oak State's got a home game against TCU. Then they go to Texas Tech. God, just give me a 10-1, 11-0 Bedlam game. That's all I want.
I would prefer for them to lose earlier, in my opinion. I'd rather
Who? OU?
Earlier. Yes. If them jokers go undefeated, you know they're going to the playoff. And we know, well, and I mean, we've talked about them. Caleb Williams makes them look a lot different. He makes them look better. So maybe not. I don't know. I'm just tired of seeing them going to the playoff and getting mollywopped every year. It's
the problem is you're probably going to get a rematch of Bedlam in the Big 12 championship game if Oklahoma State were to win. Assuming it plays out how it should play out, which is they're 10-1 versus 11-0. Then you have 11-1 versus 11-1 in the Big 12 championship. It's hard to beat a team twice in the same season.
2 times in a row. Right.
I have to say it's even harder to beat a team 2 weeks in a row. But I just would love for Oak State to keep winning out and to win those games, because then it's like you almost force the committee's hand to put a team that you know they don't want to see in the playoff, which is Oklahoma State. Okay, we ready for overrated / disappointment?
Oh, yeah. You want to go first?
Yep, I sure do. Because mine is the Texas Longhorns. Like, the wheels have just fallen off. We did it again. I know I keep plugging all of our Fish Report videos, but that's what we're here to do. We did one on Sark, talked about that. The question we answered was, is he safe for another year? I kind of feel for Sark right now. I don't know if he's lost that team.
Really?
I don't know if his team's just not very good. They're horrible up front. I mean, they're bad. I watched some of that because obviously I had to do the video recap and all that. So I was watching that game, not really by choice. And just looking at him on the sideline, man, he just looks miserable. And it really felt like he found something early in the season, particularly when they made the quarterback change after Arkansas and things kind of started igniting. And then after that debacle with OU, it's like they just haven't been able to get past that. And I'm not so sure he survives if a guy like Urban Meyer becomes available and wants that job. Now, that is literally the only exception. That otherwise, I think they go, hey, it's Sark's first year. Let's give him a chance to recruit his guys. Let's give him a chance to build his program. I know, I get it. I'm all for that. I mean, I'm an Arkansas fan. I've been through multiple coaching changes over the last decade. Like, I understand. Like, I know the drill. And the last thing you want to do as a fan is give up on your coach in their first year. I was the same way with Chad Morris. North Texas comes into Fayetteville and puts it on us. We go to Colorado State, lose in the same kind of fashion that Texas is losing. And these aren't even conference opponents. These are, group of five teams. And I'm going, no, he just has to recruit and build his team, And we saw how that worked out. No. And I'm just not so sure that Sark, time will tell if he's the guy for that job. And when I say I'm not so sure if Sark's the guy for that job, it's not like a personal thing towards Sark. It's more about the job. I liken the head coach of the Texas Longhorns to being the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Like, are you really in control of your program? Are you really in control of your organization with all the boosters and the donors and the expectations and this, and the fan base thinks they're going to win the championship every year. And then all of a sudden they get to this point like, oh no, Sark's the guy. He just has to. It was the same thing with Herman. It was the same thing with Charlie Strong. Herman came in and it was like, they knee-jerked when he lost to, I think, Maryland in his first ever game. Then he wins a Sugar Bowl, and it's, we're back. And it's like, everyone's all hyped. Everyone's all hyped. Herman was the offensive genius, the giant slayer from Houston. We just got to give him a chance to recruit and get his system in. And then within a couple years, they're already throwing the talent on him. And I'm looking at Sark going, my goodness, like, they may not be bowl eligible. They should dominate Kansas this upcoming week to get to 5 wins, but then they have Kansas State and
West Virginia.
Is it West Virginia?
Yeah, I'm looking at the schedule right now.
Those aren't guaranteed wins. They don't get me wrong; those are games they should win. Okay. But they're not guaranteed wins. And I think if they lose in similar fashion to how they've been losing, that's kind of what the big gripe is right now. I think the fan base is split. I think half the fan base is going, let's just cut our losses now and move on. This guy, I mean, we just keep giving up these come from behind victories. And then I think the other half of the fan base is going, y'all are crazy. This is our guy. He has to come in and recruit and establish a culture and blah, 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 all that stuff. But here's the thing with Texas. This is Brandon, I said this earlier on one of our podcasts. When have they ever had a problem getting talent in? Whoever the coach is.
Oh, never.
They always have talent. It's they don't develop what they have. And so right now, you can't blame their offensive line and their defensive line struggles on recruiting. Without even having done the research or looked, I guarantee you their offense and defensive line is full of 4 stars and possibly 5 stars. I guarantee it.
Oh, for
sure. So you can't blame that on recruiting. You have to blame that on developing. Now, the developing piece, that's not on Sark. He just got there, right?
Right.
But the point I'm trying to make is the developmental process all on the head coach's fault? Are there other entities surrounding and influencing the program that could be causing a hindrance to the development of the players in the coach's program? Point made right here. Like here's my comparison getting back to the Cowboys. When everyone knows the head coach is not in control, like I read the book, I got it on this bookshelf behind me, Boys Will Be Boys. They talk about a very famous player. I'm not going to say his name because you got to go read the book, but a very famous player who we all know, who you and I have even talked about on this podcast before. Like Barry Switzer would come in and say when the team meeting was the next morning, and he'd go, "Oh, that ain't going to work for me." And he'd say, "I'm going to call extension." And I don't remember what the extension was, but it was basically the extension right to Jerry Jones's office. So then they would change the meeting time. And so my point is, are some of these other factors influencing the program that, you know, guys are being pampered, or maybe guys are being told, or whatever, they're getting in the player's ear where maybe like it's their own, because at some point as a player, if you're going to develop, like you can't blame the program on your lack of development. Like on some point, that's a personal choice. Like, would you agree?
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering, man. Go ahead.
No, I think this thought came to my mind as you were talking about this with Sark. I think he is a great offensive-minded guy. But then I'm going to say, is he really who the media thought he was? I mean, he's coming from Alabama. He's coming from a machine. Bama, Nick Saban has that thing humming and rolling. That's why he can replace with a new OC every other year, and those boys are still going to put points up. And so my question is, when it comes to Sark, and this is no shade towards Sark, I'm like, but is he really the leader that we think he is? Is he really the offensive genius that we think he is? Because he came from Bama, man. Like in Bama, it's like, man, playing with, it's like you play on NCAA and you raise everybody up to 99. That offense that he was like coaching with Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith and Najee Harris, like all those are 3 first round, Mac Jones, those are 4 first round draft picks in key spots. Like what
play can you call with that personnel that doesn't have a chance to be successful?
Right. Devontae Smith was like a bona fide touchdown almost every time he touched the football last year.
Yep.
So if I'm Texas, and this is what I'm doing, like you said Urban Meyer would be the only name you would give up. I would challenge that. No one will probably think this, but I've watched this guy for years. I think he's very well due for a big call up. I would call Jeff Brom from Purdue. The guy's an offensive genius. He does more with less every year. Look at his record against top 5 teams. He's a culture guy because his team plays up every time. When they play somebody that they should not be in the game with, they play them tight. I look back at 2017 when they beat number 1 Ohio State with Rondale Moore. Like, he does more with less. He's an offensive guru. I would, if I'm Texas, I'm kind of looking around, and if that might not get the home run higher of Urban, but I go get a guy like Jeff Brom who has he played quarterback in XFL, and I saw this clip of him the other day when they were like, "You took a big hit. I can't believe you're playing." And he was like, "Is there football playing? Yes. Do I have a heartbeat? Yes." Like I saw that. Said that's a guy I would play for. Like because if you coach at Texas, either you have to be the politician like Mac Brown, which Mac Brown is very, hey buddy, shake hands, kiss babies, team guy, or you got to have a guy like Jeff Brom who's like, you know what, like I am who I am. You guys, I'm going to come win. You kind of got to put some respect on my name and watch what I do. Like either you're going to play the booster game or you're just not going to be fazed by it. And I don't know if Sark is the type of guy that can handle all of that.
Okay. I disagree with not what you said about Jeff Brom, but what you implied about the Texas job. Because the reason why I don't think Jeff Brom works at Texas is because he won't play the political game. And I think Texas has turned itself into a program where if you want to be the head coach at the University of Texas, you have to play it. You have to. To me, Jeff Brom at Texas is Luke Fickell at USC. He ain't going to do it. Jeff Brom is not going to do that. Like, that is one thing that guy will not do. He's not going to go brown nose a bunch of boosters and play that whole political game. True. He's not a Texas guy. He's not a Texas boy. He's, I think he may be from Kentucky.
He's a Midwest guy,
Jeff Brom is kind of like, I love Jeff Brom because Jeff Brom is Bobby Petrino without the drama. Like that's how I view him. May not be as much of a genius and play caller of what Petrino was in his like prime, but he might be. I don't know. Yeah. Jeff Brom will find great success somewhere. Who knows? One of these other jobs that pops up, coming around the way might be for him. I really feel like Texas, like the only way Sark is gone is if Urban Meyer comes available. And like Urban Meyer is one of those guys that can do both. He can play the political game because he's got the skins on the wall to where he can just still kind of be who he is, but still make it work. I would be worried about Jeff Brom at Texas because I think he would be fighting with all the powers that be nonstop to a point to where it takes him out of his element and what he does best as a coach. I don't think he wouldn't be successful there because of his coaching ability. I just don't think he would be a good fit there because of what Texas, that job has become. In my opinion.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I agree with that.
Okay. I'm off the soapbox. What was your overrated disappointment for the weekend?
Well, man, since we're talking about my boy Jeff Brom, man, my overrated, I have not done one of those in weeks. I've done disappointments. I'm telling you, I said it even after we lost. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to say you're just saying this because you lost. Nope. I said it. Michigan State is overrated. Overrated. I have not stopped thinking about us playing those guys, right? I went back and watched the game, Trey. Kenneth Walker scores on like 4 plays. Those are the 4 plays that make the difference, and they rob us of the touchdown, which the Big Ten comes out and apologized about, right? Hey, we botched that call, whatever. Fine. But all week, I kept telling you, I said, man, I think Purdue is going to pull the upset this week. It wasn't because I was upset. I've watched enough of Jeff Brom in Purdue to know. And I had watched him twice earlier this year. And David Bell, because he doesn't play for a big-time program, most people haven't heard of him. But NFL scouts know about this guy. He's the best receiver in the Big Ten. Some people are going to probably say Chris Olave out of Ohio State. It's David Bell. Go put on the tape. Put on the tape. The kid's a bona fide baller. He's a junior this year. He probably goes to the league. I don't see him staying around much longer. But this is what I knew about Michigan State. Not saying they're not a good team. I give Mel Tucker credit. Mel Tucker has squeezed the lemon. He gets every ounce out of them. But the thing I knew about Michigan State was that back end of their defense is atrocious. It is atrocious. And what I knew after watching the week before when we played them, if just one of those field goals turns into a touchdown, or if Blake doesn't drop that ball, the game's over early. Like the game's over early. So I knew, and it's because when I watched Purdue, let me give everybody credit. When I watched Purdue play Iowa, they put it on Iowa. It was bad. They had the game plan that exposed them. And I knew they had the quarterback. I knew they had the pieces. I knew they didn't have a run game, which was fine because Michigan State's run game is great. But Purdue had the kryptonite for Michigan State's weakest part of their game, which is their back end of their defense. And I said this last week. I don't think Peyton Thorne's that good. He just happened to hit a miraculous, the play he beat us with. I give him kudos for that. He threw a perfect ball in a perfect spot. Nothing you can do with that. But I didn't think he was that good. I tweeted it. Follow me on Twitter, Real B Holmes. I said, Michigan State's offense is all Kenneth Walker. If you can somehow contain Kenneth Walker, you're going to win the game. So, back to my point. Michigan State is overrated. I love the feel-good story of the season. So what? They beat Michigan. Don't really care. It happens. Sometimes your little brother gets you 2 games. It's going to happen. Mel Tucker's not going to be there at the end of the year anyways. But this is what we're about to see, Trey. Now, they go play Maryland next week. They should win that game. Maryland's having a down year. Then you have to play Ohio State. That's their next game after Maryland. So in 2 weeks, they play Ohio State. What is Ohio State's greatest part of their team? They have the best receiving core in the nation.
Yes.
They have the best. Garrett Wilson didn't even play this way, and Najee Smith out of Rockwall, Texas, balled out. 15 for like 150 yards. So I'm looking at Olave, Wilson, Smith, and then whoever else is there like that's playing. Matter of fact, Williams for Alabama was there last year, and he transferred because he couldn't get on the field because of Smith. So they have the best receiving core in the country. Michigan State's going to probably lose that game unless C.J. Stroud just chokes. But you don't have to when you got that. I don't even know if they beat Penn State. Penn State's humming a little bit. They've lost 2 games, so people aren't talking about them as much. But Sean Clifford, Jahan Dotson, he's like David Bell. He can put. So I mean, it's still a win for Michigan State if they finish the season. This will put them at 9, and if they win 9-3, that's good, right? That's good.
Yeah,
that's great for Michigan State. That's great. I think Michigan State thinks they're like elite because of their D'Antonio years. They're not. You've had a couple good years, and hey, you get to ride that train. But I think they're overrated. I've said it all year. I like Mel Tucker. I think Mel Tucker has squeezed the lemon. Mel Tucker's gotten everything out of those boys. And dare I say, I'm going to say this kind of affected them. They hear the national media talking about Mel Tucker. He's the hottest coach in the... Trey, listen to me. Mel don't got to win no more games. None. No more. He's the hottest name in America right now. He has to win no more games. If he just beats Maryland and drops the final 2, people are going to look at that roster and say, you weren't even supposed to win 9 games, Mel. If he wins 10, you're not. You were supposed to win. Vegas predicted them to win like 4 games this year. So if Mel Tucker wins 9 games, he's gone. Michigan State goes back to normal. But I've been waiting to talk about that all day. I've been waiting to talk about that since yesterday. I called it. I said Purdue was going to beat them because I believe they're overrated. And I think I was proven right, man.
Hey, I got something for you.
What's that?
I'm looking at right here. So the old saying, history repeats itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Mel Tucker's, one of his mentors, and let me make sure I get this stat completely correct. Nick Saban, the year he left Michigan State to take the LSU job.
Yep.
You know how many games Michigan State won in the regular season?
Probably 9.
Bingo, 9. So, in fact, was taking me a second there was I was trying to check if that was one of the seasons that Mel Tucker was a GA on that staff, but it was the 2 seasons before that. But it was the 99 Michigan State Spartans. Plaxico Burress was the star receiver. They went 9-2, and then Saban bolted for LSU, did not coach the bowl game. They ended up winning the bowl game to go 10-2. But yeah, I mean, I think you're onto something here. I think Mel Tucker goes 9-3 this season, and that LSU job is open. We could see history repeating itself in some way, shape, or form. All right, let's go true minute. Okay, I'm looking forward to true minute drill. Those of you that have been listening, you know the drill. Start on the whistle, end on the buzzer. This week, B. Holmes, for the true minute drill, we got college hoops officially starting this week. So
yes, sir.
For the true minute drill, and this is, man, I'm thrilled about this. But for the true minute drill, man, you have 1 minute to just sound off on the upcoming college basketball season. So that's it. You let me know who you want to go first. If you want me to go so you can think a little bit.
Yeah, go. You sound ready. This is the episode of Trey's first.
I am ready. So let me get this. Let me get the clock queued up. And true minute drill intro. Here we go. Start on the whistle, end on the buzzer. Okay, I have been waiting for this time, particularly as an Arkansas Razorback fan, coming off a season where we finished in the Elite Eight. We've reloaded our stable. We've got dudes upon dudes. We got Coach Eric Musselman. One of the things that's like the cherry on top is that I have the privilege of covering for All Hogs, powered by Sports Illustrated, the Razorback basketball team this year. My first basketball-related article, which went up late Friday night, was about Waka Flocka Flame, was in the house. He was attending practice. I wrote a little article about it. I didn't think it was really that newsworthy, but I thought it was really cool. I love the Hogs. I saw Waka. I thought, hey, someone might get a kick out of this. Well, Eric Musselman, Coach Eric Musselman, who is the most active coach on social media, retweeted that article and it went crazy. So that got me even more fired up. And here we go. The buzzer's about to sound. Yes, sir. I'm ready for some college hoops.
I don't know if he's more active than Juwan Howard on Twitter. Juwan's active.
No, he is. I guarantee it. Because he posts, he actually keeps track of it. So he'll post the most engagements of all college coaches in the country. And he's always at the top.
Impressive.
But maybe Juwan Howard will get him one of these. Who knows?
Hey.
All right, B. Holmes. Here we go. Rock. True minute drill. Start on the whistle, end on the buzzer.
Listen, this is episode 11. If you haven't known by now, your boy is a big Michigan Wolverines fan. I'm a football, basketball, women's soccer, women's gymnastics, men's tennis. It doesn't matter what we play, I'm celebrating. This year, this is Juwan Howard, man, at Michigan. I believe this is year 3. Man, we have a deep squad. 4 of the guys on our bench could go start for any Big Ten program right now. I like Hunter Dickinson, the parade All-American at center. I like Caleb Houston, who just won, I think, bronze in the World Games with Canada, who's NBA ready right now. I like Beyonce, the guy, the freshman 5-star center who's coming off giving big minutes off the bench. Devontae Jones, the transfer for Coastal Carolina. Oh, my goodness. I mean, we have Brandon Johns. I mean, the team is deep this year. I think this is a Final Four type of team. They have veteran experience. They have talent. They can go 9 deep on the bench. Everyone's talking about Gonzaga. Everyone's talking about Chet Holmgren. But I believe Michigan is going to be the team to watch this year, and Juwan will have those boys ready. I'm ready to watch some hoops. Let's go.
Let's go. Well, the season officially gets kicked off Tuesday night. Arkansas's got Mercer. Be tuned to allhogs.com. I'll have the I'll have something about that game. I don't know what it is yet, but I'll have some article.
I'm about to call them the Michigan affiliate. They need to put me on.
Let's get it. Yeah, let's holler at them. That's our next step.
I need them to give me in Ann Arbor.
Socials, you see the Twitters right here. I'm at It's Trey Smith. He's at Real B Holmes. At Blue Blood CGT on Insta and TikTok. I think between the two, we're at like 10,000 followers. That's it, B Holmes.
Definitely. No, we're over 10. Yeah, we're up there now. That's it this week, man. So, as always, guys, enjoy your wins, sulk in your losses. Week 11 is upon us. We'll see you guys. Make sure you stay up with us. Shout out to Uncle Fish. Stay up with us on Fish Sports. Subscribe on YouTube. We drop fresh content daily on Fish Sports. Oh, and big thing, man, we drop our live reaction to the CFP playoff rankings on Tuesday, and that is going to be exciting after this big week of college football. So make sure you do that. Subscribe to Fish Sports. Shout out Uncle Fish. We love you. We appreciate you. And everyone else, to all our Blue Bloods, we love you guys. Have a great week. Take care. Peace.
Peace.